Hey guys, how are you doing? So, a lot of people have been asking me about my thoughts on the upcoming changes, the nerfs, ranked floors, the year of the Mammoth, and the cards that are being rotated out for that. So, I thought I'd put it all into one video and kind of discuss everything all at once. Yeah, just to express my thoughts on how I feel about stuff. So, I'll start with ranked floors. I think ranked floors is definitely a great idea. A lot of times on ladder, people will be climbing with a deck, and then they'll want to change and try something experimental, but then they'll be like, oh, I don't want to lose ranks, so I'll stick to the aggro shaman I was playing, or whatever. I mean, I have a similar thing, where like, I play a lot of wacky decks, and so I'll climb a certain amount, and then, I mean, to be fair, I don't really care about my rank as much, so I just play something wacky and drop my rank, and I don't really care. But like a lot of people would care about their rank, and the fact that playing something wacky can hurt their rank will kind of stop people experimenting and stop people trying new things out, which is terrible because one of the best things about Hearthstone is deck building and trying lots of these wacky cards with each other and trying to come up with new creations. It's definitely a good thing because people can get to rank 5 or whatever rank and then just play their wacky deck, not worry about their rank so much, and just have fun and experiment and try new things. So yeah, rank floors is definitely a very good change, and I'm looking forward to it. Okay, moving on to the nerfs. So we have Buccaneer and Spirit Claws. So Buccaneer's health is going down from 2 to 1, which is great. This is a nerf that quite a few weeks ago, I said that I think if Buccaneer was going to be nerfed, I think this should be the nerf that should be made. Because it keeps the aggression. Like, Buccaneer is still going to be a really aggressive card. Like, it can still be a 3-1, and it's still going to pull patches. So it's, like, still really aggressive. But it's just easier to deal with. Like, it dies to, like, Mage and Druid hero power, things like that. Things like Maelstrom Pool, Ravaging Ghoul. It dies to... It's just easier to deal with, and yeah, it's a great change because it means that it's not like destroying the card. I think Buccaneer will still be playable. Like, I think Pirate Warrior will still be a top tier deck, and I think it will still play Buccaneer. Like, I don't think like the nerf is hurting it that much. Obviously, it's weakening the card, which is what a nerf is designed to do. But I think it's still going to be played in certain decks. Probably won't see so much play in Shaman anymore, because Shaman has so many good aggressive cards anyway. I can't really see it being played as much in Shaman. But still in Pirate Warrior for sure, and maybe still Rogue. But yeah, I really like this nerf. Spirit Claws going down to 2 mana is the other nerf. Spirit Claws was one of the cards that just had to be nerfed. I think there was no way that Spirit Claws could not be nerfed. It was at 1 mana, it was just way too strong. Like, as simple as that. Like, minimum it's doing 3 damage. Has the potential to do 9 damage for 1 mana. It was just kind of broken and just kind of destroys early board control. Kind of like no other decks can like dominate the board early because Shaman just had such powerful tools with Maelstrom Portal and Spirit Claws and Buccaneer and Troc. Like, they just have everything. So I definitely think Spirit Claws had to be nerfed. I'm not sure what the nerf, like what was best to nerf it to, but 2 mana is fine. Like, I don't think at 2 mana it's like unplayable. It's definitely not going to see as much play as it did at 1 mana, but I don't think it's unplayable. I mean, I think in a lot of the Shaman decks, you're going to probably play Jade Claws over this. But yeah, maybe in some decks that still run like Double Drake and Thalos, you could maybe still see a 2 mana Spirit Claws in there. Maybe. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the Year of the Mammoth stuff. So, let's go through the cards. So, Azure Drake, Sylvanas, Ragnaros, Power of Warming, Ice Lance, and Conceal are the cards being rotated out. I think it's... firstly, I want to say I think it's a great thing that these cards that have seen a lot of play over a long time. It's definitely a good thing that they are being rotated into Wild, from my perspective, because Azure Drake is just like, it just limits deck building, just limits creativity. Azure Drake has so many uses. It's like it's cycle plus spell damage plus it's a body plus it's a dragon. Like it can fit into so many different decks. It can fit into mid-range decks. It's been in aggro shaman. Like you can play it in slower decks. Like, and it's just marginally better than a lot of the other 5-drops in the game, and so it just fits into so many decks. And I think it's not good to have cards like this where you're just having one 5-drop that just fits into everything. Like, you want different decks to want different things, rather than just every deck playing the same card. It just really limits, like, deck building, like I said earlier. It's like... And just the amount of variety in the game. Like, you're just seeing Azure Drakes every game, like... When you see it over and over, you kind of get used to it. But I don't think the game should be like that. Azure Drake is just too strong. And it's been played for so long, in so many different decks. I'm looking forward to seeing it gone. Azure Drake always feels good when you're playing it, but it's definitely good that it's going because of the lack of creativity that it kind of brings. And, yeah. Sylvanas, it's a weird one, because Sylvanas is really, really strong for 6 mana, obviously. And I am happy to see it go, because, well, similar reasons to Azure Drake, and similar reasons to Ragnaros. It just fits into too many decks, and... I mean, the thing with all these 3 cards, Azure Drake, Sylvanas, and Ragnaros, the big thing for me is that they all can be played in so many different decks and fit into the style of so many different decks because they're so versatile. And that's what I want. I think it's great to get rid of these really versatile neutral cards that can be played in so many different decks. Like Ragnaros, you can play it in aggro decks, you can play it in mid-range decks, you can play it in control decks. Like, instead of thinking, oh, which big drop should I play in this deck? It's just like, oh, let's just put Ragnaros in because it's probably the best. It fills so many roles. Like, Ragnaros just fills so many roles. Like, you want to have to choose between, oh, do I play this or this or this? And it actually be a decision you have to think about and think, oh, do I want to play Chromagus as my 8-mana card? Or do I want to play Boogie Monster? Not that you're gonna pick Boogie Monster, but you know, you get the point. You get the point. Like, it shouldn't just be so like, yeah, this is just the best neutral 8-drop. I'll just put this in whatever. Because Ragnaros is just the best neutral 8-drop. Like, same with Sylvanas. It's just the best neutral 6-drop, and Azure Drake is the best neutral 5-drop. And that shouldn't be the case. There shouldn't be a neutral card in a mana slot that is quite clearly just the best. They should be better for different situations. But yeah, they're just... I think they're all slightly too powerful. Which is why I think I'm happy that they were either nerfed or rotated out. Rotated out is fine. They've just been played for too long. Yeah, very happy to see all 3 of these go. Even though, like, it's not that I don't like the cards. Like, there's lots of really cool things you can do with Sylvanas, and like great in like N'Zoth decks, and combos you can do with Sylvanas with like Shadow Flame, etc. So like this, like especially Sylvanas is like the most probably skill intensive card out of the 3, but they are just too good and have been seen too much play, and I'm happy to see them all go. Okay, the next 3, I'll do all these 3 all in one as well. Power Overwhelming, Ice Lance, and Conceal. I mean, they all do a very similar thing. Like, it's quite clear that Blizzard is like, okay, let's get rid of these cards that encourage, like, OTKs, bursting people down in 1 turn. Obviously, Ice Lance is great in, like, Freeze Mage style decks, or decks with a lot of burn that are trying to do a load of damage to you just from their hand. Same with Power Overwhelming. You have, like, Leroy, Faceless Power Overwhelming combo to do loads of damage to you in 1 turn. And same with Conceal. Conceal is, like, uninteractive, and like you conceal your auctioneer or your big questing or whatever, and your opponent can't do anything about it, and then they just kill you on 1 turn, basically. A lot of the time. So I mean, this is up to them what they want to kind of, how they want the game to be, and they're quite clearly saying that they don't want burst to be I'm pretty happy about Conceal, in all honesty. Like, I do, like, Conceal's a really fun card, but I can see how it can, like, limit stuff in Rogue. It really, like, you could, like, things like Red Mana Worm, things like Auctioneer, Questing, all these things that, when they get concealed, and you just can't do anything about it, and you know that you're just going to get absolutely wrecked next turn, like, so even though Conceal is a really fun card, I can see why, they don't want it standard anymore. And yeah, it's fair enough. It's fair enough. Like, they want the game to be more interactive and less burst, stuff like that, which I think is fine. Pretty happy with this, actually. In fact, in all honesty, I'm happy with all the changes. Like, mainly because what I want people to be experimental with decks and try loads of different things out, and there to be loads of viable possibilities, which is why I kind of don't really like the kind of Kazakus Reno patches thing, because they were all clearly really strong, and like patches, if you're not playing pirates in your aggro deck, it's just going to be weaker than the pirates, which will hopefully be a little bit less now that Buccaneer's nerfed. Like without, Kazakus just dominates control decks, which I'm really excited for Reno to go, actually. I'm really looking forward to Reno. For Reno to be rotated out of the expansion. I think it will, obviously annihilate Reno Lock, and Highlander Warlock will probably not be a thing unless they bring out some really good healing cards for Warlock, which I don't think they should do, and I think that would be bad. In fact, yeah, I hope they don't bring out any good healing cards for Warlock. But I think a Highlander Priest could still be a thing. Like, Kazakus and Razza the Chained are so strong, and Priest has good healing cards. Like, you don't have Reno now, but you could have like Flash Heal, or the 4-mana Greater Healing Potion. I think it's called Greater Healing Potion. 4-mana Restore 12. You could definitely play that in a Kazakus Highlander Priest deck. I think that could be a thing, and maybe even Mage. Like, maybe Mage could even still play with like Solia and Kazakus. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But definitely excited about certain things, and I'm very happy Reno goes out. And I hope they don't bring. I don't want them to bring out lots more Reno style cards, Highlander kind of cards. Like, 'cause I want like Control Paladin to be a deck, and like Control Warrior. I don't think, because right now just Reno decks dominate. Like, Reno decks are the best control decks. Full stop. So with Reno going, hopefully that will change things a lot. Like, they could potentially still be Highlander decks, like Priest, which I mentioned, which I don't think is a bad thing, but hopefully without the Reno they won't dominate. There'll be more opportunities for Control Paladin to be a thing, Control Warrior, Control Priest, whatever, that kind of thing. Okay. Sorry about my voice, by the way. I've had a really sore throat the last few days. Okay, so another thing they've said is instead of adventures, they're doing 3 expansions. So 3 130 card expansions a year, which I think is great, because, I mean, I don't dislike adventures, but I always find it a little bit disappointing when a new expansion's coming out and it's an adventure and you're only getting like 40 cards. Like, yeah, the adventure's fun, but then you're only getting like 40 odd new cards. It doesn't really impact the meta as much. You don't have a load of new stuff to play with. Like, I would rather not have the adventure and have just a bunch of new cards rather than just have an adventure and only have like 40 cards. So I like this. I like, just because of the amount of cards. Like, I want 130 cards plus. I want loads of cards. For loads of different possibilities, loads of different wacky stuff you could do. So I'm actually happy with this. Overall, I'm really happy with the changes. I just want lots of different deck building opportunities. Not cards that are clearly stronger than everything else and you have to play them. Not that kind of thing. So, yeah, I'm excited. And looking forward to creating more wacky decks. So, yeah.